You know the feeling. It's 1 a.m., the house is quiet, the world is asleep. You aren't tired, but you aren't awake. You aren't hungry, but you feel empty. So you reach for something, a snack, a notification, a purchase. Usually this is framed as a lack of willpower, or simple addiction, or just weakness. But what if it isn't a moral failure? What if it's a mechanical one? What if the light entering your eyes right now is physically breaking the bridge between your stomach and your brain? We think we're eating too much because we are greedy. The truth is, we're being metabolically engineered to never feel full. This isn't a conspiracy. This is digital diabetes. Right now, we are witnessing the largest shift in metabolic health in modern history, the rise of GLP-1 agonists. Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro. By all metrics, these drugs are a scientific triumph. For the first time, we have a chemical switch that effectively turns off hunger. The stock market is cheering. The medical establishment is relieved. And it seems we have finally engineered our way out of the obesity crisis. In a sense, it's the ultimate technological promise. We broke our biology with lifestyle, so we will fix it with chemistry. It feels like a victory. But this narrative skips the most important question. Why did human biology break in the first place? Why specifically in the last 2 decades did we suddenly lose the ability to regulate energy? Before we celebrate the cure, I think we have to audit the disease. There's a silent consensus that the culprit is just the food. And certainly, ultra-processed calories are no good for us. But there is another variable that changed at the exact same time as our wastes. This variable that governs our hormones, our sleep, and our digestion. This variable is our light environment. To understand why this is happening, it helps to be precise about what actually controls appetite and energy regulation. This isn't just calories in, calories out. It's a set of signals between your gut, your pancreas, and your brain. Signals that decide when you feel hungry, when you feel full, and what your body does with the food you already ate. We'll start with glucose. Glucose is the main form of sugar circulating in your blood after a meal. It's the fuel your cells are built to run on, but it does have to be handled carefully. That's where insulin comes in. Insulin is the hormone that helps move glucose out of the bloodstream and into the cells. When insulin is working well, blood sugar rises after a meal and then comes back down. When insulin sensitivity is poor, the same meal produces a bigger spike, and the body has to produce more insulin to get the same job done. That's one path into insulin resistance. Now the appetite side. Ghrelin is one of the hormones that increases hunger. When ghrelin is high, food becomes more motivating and restraint becomes harder. Leptin is one of the signals associated with longer-term energy status and satiety. When leptin signaling works, the brain gets the message that there's enough stored energy and appetite can come down. When leptin signaling is impaired, people can have plenty of stored energy or fat and still feel driven to eat because the brain isn't receiving the enough signal clearly. Then there's GLP-1, that's glucagon-like peptide 1, the hormone at the center of the current drug revolution. GLP-1 is released in response to eating, and it pushes the system towards satiety. It helps stimulate insulin release, it slows gastric emptying so food stays in the stomach longer, and it reduces appetite by changing signals to the brain. Ozempic and similar drugs work by activating that pathway more strongly and for longer than the body normally would. But here's the point that changes the story. These signals are not controlled only by food. They're also coordinated by circadian timing, by the body's internal clock. One of the strongest inputs to that clock is light, especially short wavelength blue light reaching the eye. In the morning, blue light from the sun is the on button. It wakes up your cortisol and preps your insulin sensitivity. But at night, that same frequency of blue light acts as a potent signal disruptor. When you stare at a screen after dark, you are sending a false dawn signal straight to your brain. The research is clear. Studies show that evening blue light exposure directly suppresses GLP-1. That's exactly the same satiety hormone that Ozempic tries to mimic. Think about it. We're spending billions on drugs to boost a hormone that our screens are actively suppressing. The brain receives a signal of endless summer, endless day. Evolutionarily, this triggers a preparation for winter, for fat storage. You become insulin resistant before you take a single bite of food. Now, don't think you can simply turn off your phone to escape this. This shift was structural and perfectly timed. Consider 2007. Apple launches the iPhone on June 29th, turning screens from passive to always on. That same year, December 2007, Congress passes the Energy Independence and Security Act, effectively banning incandescent light bulbs to enforce efficiency standards by 2012. Two simultaneous changes to our light environment. Screens become addictive blue light portals in our hands, while ceiling lights lose their healing infrared spectrum. The mandate was energy efficiency. The old incandescent bulbs wasted energy as heat, but biologically, that waste was near-infrared radiation, a frequency shown to support retinal repair and mitochondrial function. When the standard switched to LEDs, that buffer was removed. The new environment was stripped of red frequencies and dominated by isolated blue light. This creates a strange contradiction. The lighting grid was overhauled to save watts, yet simultaneously, the infrastructure of the digital age, that's data centers and server farms, began consuming electricity at the scale of nation states. We prioritized electrical efficiency, and we ignored biological efficiency. If you think big tech and big pharma are separate silos, well, let's have a look at the boardroom. We'll take Arthur D. Levinson as an example. He's chairman of Apple, the company putting blue light screens in your hand. He was CEO of Genentech and director at Roche. That's the huge pharmaceutical giant. He's CEO of Calico, that's Alphabet's life extension biotech branch. So the same leadership guiding the hardware that disrupts your metabolism is guiding the drugs that promise to fix it. We can follow the money further. BlackRock, Vanguard, top institutional owners of Apple, Novo Nordisk, and Nestle. They hold the largest stakes across tech, pharma, and food. They don't just invest in companies. Through policy influence and governance, they shape the regulatory environment from bulb bans to drug approvals. But why does the system remain this way? Follow the incentives. A metabolically broken user is a profitable user. Tech disrupts the metabolic clock. Processed food satisfies the craving. Pharma provides the subscription fix. The loop is self-sustaining. If you don't believe me, consider Nestlé's new GLP-1 companion foods. This isn't competition or a coincidence. This is a fully vertically integrated business model. We're watching a food supply adapt for chemically altered hunger. This is the current environment, a closed loop of light, food, and pharmaceuticals. You can't solve a light problem with a food solution. You can't solve a lifestyle problem with a drug subscription. The exit door isn't in the pharmacy. And it damn well isn't in your screen either. I think step one is to unplug. And step 2 is wake up.